For Kratos, the man who became a god, the journey was far from over.
The God of War series is, with good reason, one of the most popular action series on the PS3. And God of War 3 that came out last year was really, really awesome, in my opinion at least. We're still waiting for God of War 4, or at least something new on the God of War front. But to hold us over, I guess Sony has released the God of War Collection, Volume 2, featuring the 2 PSP games, Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta. How do they hold up on the big screen?
Surprisingly good. They are both still class games. I mean, I guess we were all kind of surprised the first time we saw what Ready at Dawn had been able to do with the PSP hardware, because even though it was much smaller hardware, much less powerful hardware, I mean, it was just God of War through and through. And the same can be said for the 2 games, even though they have now been upscaled to HD.
So, comparing them to the PSP is sort of a PS2 level system. So, is there anything new in the visuals? Have they done anything to make them?
I guess the easy answer would be to just say that they have upscaled it. You know, the typical things that they put on to make it all smooth and shiny and look kind of good. I will say that the first of the PSP games definitely shows its age, much more so than the newest one. That comes through in the visuals, but also just in the fantasy that the developer has been able to put into the scenes. Which is quite amazing, because again, when you saw the first God of War game on the PSP, I was just like, this can't be happening. But they hold up really good on the large screen as well, and most of all, they feel like God of War games.
So you're saying it feels like a God of War game. So what makes a good God of War game?
Well, it's the same tight action fighting system that you would find in the other games. Also, you have all these, like, still after all these years, insanely cool quick time fights where you get to bash monsters' heads in and everything, and it's extremely visceral. I mean, it's still one of the most visually arresting games you'll find on the market. Also, some new mechanics has been added to each of the games, and I mean, if you're into the story of Kratos, of course, you will get additional chapters to the legend of him. Though it has to be said, it's definitely not a game that you should buy for the story.
But if you're a God of War fan, this is a game you should buy.
Definitely. I mean, there's just no 2 ways about it. Not only do you get 2 games for less than the price of 1, it's also 2 really good quality God of War games. And I mean, if you're into just insanely cool action games, how can you mess up on God of War?
You let this happen to me, and you think I would forgive?